Let's get a quick take on some of the high-profile visits coming to Colorado this week. Vice President Mike Pence was in town on Thursday, and Arnold Schwarzenegger is coming this weekend to campaign for Amendments Y and Z. Patty Calhoun, we haven't had the kind of high-profile visits we usually have, but will Arnold sway your vote on Y and Z?
Oh, sure. Now, I tell you what is going to sway my vote on something, if I can figure out what. It's Pence coming to town and snarling traffic yesterday for hours. I mean, people were late all over town because they didn't know he was coming because he wasn't doing really a campaign stop. But I would also be interested in knowing just how much it cost the city and the state patrol to cover for Pence coming. Arnold, I don't think will need bodyguards. You know, it's interesting. Arnold once used to be an investor in town. He had the block that's now the Dairy Block, and his company was called Pumping Bricks, but he never really developed it.
David Kopel from the Independence Institute and DU Law School. When you get visits like this, does it do more good for the fundraisers that VP Mike Pence or Arnold Schwarzenegger might do, or more harm because of the people that are annoyed by the things that have to happen for these visits to take place?
It's a trade-off, and presumably the Pence paid for some of the extra Denver police security, and as everyone should, who causes that kind of disruption. But Schwarzenegger's, I don't think he's a powerful political icon in Colorado, but he's right. This is something that he fought for unsuccessfully in California and pushed referenda, not exactly like this, but at the same point, to have fair and non-gerrymandered redistricting, and that he lost on that. And you know, as a result of that, Mexifornia is increasingly a political system like Mexico as of 1965, is where it is permanent one-party rule, because they always gerrymander and they can manipulate all the rules for themselves. And the other side is allowed to exist to some extent, but that's about it. And so it says a lot for these initiatives in Colorado. They are bipartisan, supported really by throughout the state legislature. And you don't know if they'll work, but they might be an improvement of the current system.
Eric, you have Arnold Schwarzenegger, you have Jennifer Lawrence. Are these the type of folks that might sway some undecideds in Colorado?
No, they're here to play to the base. In Schwarzenegger's case, there isn't a base around those ballot measures, but he's to, get a little press, gin it up a little bit, get some exposure. To David's point about Schwarzenegger being involved in similar efforts in California, it's also not lost on me that Kent Thiry, the head of DaVita, who's the largest funder, the dominant funder behind Y and Z, was also headquartered in California back when Schwarzenegger was governor. I assume there's a connection there, and that has some link to this visit. Fortunately, we'll be spared a presidential visit here with all the headache that entails. Unlike Obama, who I sometimes thought had a second home in Colorado, he was here so often. Trump has a pattern of only visiting states he won. I can't think of, other than maybe one trip to California, a Hillary state that Trump has visited. So we will not be seeing the president here this cycle, and we'll be spared. We'll be spared all of that drama.
Brother Jeff, editor at 5 Points News, joins us. It's great to have you back on the panel.
Good to be here.
What do you think about all these high-profile visits to Denver and Colorado?
Well, speaking of high-profile visits, former Attorney General Eric Holder, we just hosted a forum with him at Brother Jeff's Cultural Center exactly about Y and Z. So it seems like there's a lot of agreement, must be a lot of money behind it, super important issue. So if all of these sides are agreeing on one thing, maybe that's a good thing.